We're the Shelters, and we're from Los Angeles, California. We're playing at Cain's Ballroom this week, and we had a couple days off here in Tulsa, and we're trying to think of something special we could do in tribute to our hero and mentor, Tom Petty, and what better way to do it than to come to where Shelter Records used to be and be in this legendary space where so much great music has been done, and we're just glad to have been able to come in here. It's amazing.
I'm Jacob, I play bass in the Shelters.
I'm Josh.
I'm Chase.
I'm Sebastian.
I grew up with Tom's stepson Dylan, and we started that first band together. And so Tommy was kind of always involved, just trying to, you know, help us out a little bit. And then when that band broke up, I called Josh up and, you know, said, hey, do you want to keep going, start a band? And Tommy was actually the one who was like, you guys have something great, you guys gotta keep working on it and keep writing. And so Josh was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so we started working on songs. We called Sebastian up, said, hey, do you want to start a new band? And, you know, the rest is history. We kind of just worked and worked on it, and the more we worked, the more Tommy got involved, and he saw potential, and he got excited, and we all got really excited, and it just kind of sparked.
Yeah, June 2016, it was our first record. We spent definitely years making it at Tom's home studio, which he calls Shoreline Recorders, and we spent so many hours just working on songs and trying to figure out what we could do to make something that was unique, you know, and I think that Tom believed in us from an early stage, like Chase said, and he encouraged us to keep honing it.
That's how we learned as a band how to record, you know, just plugging things in and seeing how they sound, and there's something really, you know, there's something living about an analog
organic
studio.
Yeah.
It actually is living. There's weird sounds that happen that you don't know why. You've plugged something in the patch bay, and all of a sudden you're getting this ghostly kind of sound just because it's got a little dirt in it, or you guys shake the, you know, the knobs to get them to work, but that little bit of grit made that guitar tone do something, or just there's something just special that can't be kind of emulated by anything else. And, you know, I think it's, if you want that, if you're, you know, going for that kind of organic sound or music, then there's nothing better. Yeah.
I think that something that, the most important thing that Tom taught us, though, amidst all the gear talk, is that, like, you have to have a song there, you know, and you have to, no amount of great recording equipment or old or new recording equipment is going to make something great if there's not a good song there. So we got to focus on the task at hand here, you know, which is a good song. And it's nice when all those things come together, when the great sounds and the great equipment and the great process, and then it turns into a great song. It's a wonderful thing.
We got to be able to play it on that thing.
But I think
acoustic and vocals.
I think Neves are like a certain color. Mm-hmm. It is this color. It's gonna make this
a tried and true,
yeah,
classic sound.
It's gonna make this sound. It's this color, you know. And so, if you want to paint with that color,
for me, Daniel Lanois is a very important producer, and I followed his career for a long time. I followed his solo music, all the great production stuff that he's done, and I actually learned how to play the pedal steel guitar because I was inspired by watching him play that instrument. And I think that he knows sound. He definitely knows sound, and I don't think he would have ever had a piece of equipment that didn't sound good, you know, or if he did, it was on purpose. You know, he's kind of in that same vein as he likes to explore things, and he likes weird sounds and manipulate things and maybe push them a little further than they're supposed to be pushed. But I think that's what I personally love about his production style, is that you can listen to it and you hear all these little tiny sounds that you don't know how they were even made, and it's just a matter of him kind of mad scientists in there.
Well, he's a true master of the studio. He's someone who uses the studio as an instrument. You know,
there's a film called Here Is What Is. I don't know if you've seen that film, and it's a film of his that he had made about making a record, and I can't be sure that it's the same console, but there's a scene where he's mixing a console, mixing a song, I mean, on a console, and he's getting it, he's literally playing it like an instrument. I mean, it's a shot from behind his head, and he mixes the whole song, and you just watch his process, and he's swaying, and he's turning things up and he's bringing this and he's pulling this down. It's very dramatic, and I think that that's very real. I don't think he was doing that for the camera. I think that's how he approaches it. He's the last step of the process, you know, the mixing process, the last thing to make a performance great, you know, and that's part of it. So it's amazing to see what you can become, you know, from a room like this and from being a young guy and exploring the country and figuring out where you want to make your art, and then he comes through Tulsa and he's just figuring it out, you know, and I think that the fact that he ever did that really makes him more human to us in a way, because we just see him as this master of his craft, and he had to do the same thing that we're doing, and I think that's part of the reason why I was interested in looking it up, the studio, because I want to go, you know, to the places where he stood and where he was figuring it out for himself, and maybe he got some answers, you know, maybe he got some understanding of how to do it better from being here in this room. You know?
Yeah, I think it's just so serendipitous too that we happen to be here at this time, you know, and Shelter Records, and where you know, it ties for me into our name too, has become even more meaningful to us, because it was always like this, you know, we were like, oh, Shelter Records, but it was never on purpose. It just was like a cool sounding name that we liked and we picked it. You know,
but in the back of our minds.
But in the back, yeah,
Shelter
it was
Records,
always like, oh, Shelter
Shelters.
Records. But you know, now we're here, and you know, it's really special to be here and just to be, you know, in the air with Tommy here.
I think it's also really special to come to a place where he developed his craft, like Josh was saying, with people like Leon and stuff, and we had that opportunity to develop with Tom, and it's just cool to kind of get back and see the place where he developed.
He did the same thing.
He did the same thing, and now we're, you know, it's sort of a new chapter for us with him gone and everything, and it's just really special to be here. It's inspiring
to think about the future, you know.
And this like just kind of makes it a lot.
Just makes it very special.
Very special.
And we've heard stories, you know, of him coming here, and you know, the whole process when he came here and they were working on songs, and you know, with him and Denny, and you know, trying to get it down. And I think they recorded Luna here, and you know, just like that process. And to us, what Denny was to Tommy in a certain way is what Tommy is to us. Obviously, they had their falling out and everything, but in the beginning, Denny really was that guy for Tommy, and this was the place with Leon, and this was Shoreline to us is Shelter Studios to Tommy.
Yeah, he always talked about learning how to record here. That's what
Yeah.
Denny brought them here for, and that's pretty incredible. You know, to go from being a phenomenal live band to then going to a studio and learning that art form, because it is a very different approach. And you know, as a young band, it's very daunting. And so, what a special place to be.
The piano's cool. The fact
yeah,
that the piano at Tom's studio is Leon's
from Shelter
grand piano from the original room, from this room, I guess. Yeah. You know? Somehow it made it from here to there. I don't know how that. It's definitely like kind of relic. I mean, it's not like in perfect shape.
No.
It's which is cool to see. Like some of the keys are chipped and it's dirty.
Deep sounding. It's the really rich, deep tone. So we on our record use it for like low bass notes and really kind of. It's got a specific sound for sure. It's definitely a special piano, you know, and I think that Tommy wouldn't have it if it wasn't special. And it's definitely, it feels like that piano, like we haven't ever been scared of putting stuff on that piano or anything, just because it's like that case there. It's like it's well loved and lived.
It's meant to be used.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Yeah.
But then you remember it was Leon Russell. Oh wait, maybe I should take that coffee mug off.
We definitely have massive respect for Leon Russell. I mean, I know I personally do, and even like all the studio work and things he did before he was kind of an artist of his own, it's very inspiring, and he was just a consummate musician. You know, I've heard pretty great stories of him in the studio and with, you know, different groups of musicians, and kind of funny stories sometimes, but he always delivered. You know, he definitely knew the right thing to play always. I mean, if it weren't for us having cameras on us, I think we'd all be kind of speechless to be here. It's really incredible.
Crazy, yeah.
I love looking. I know that it's going to be renovated, but I love looking at all the little broken things, or little cracked things, or the doors falling over.
I like this isolation.
I like that. I love that. Yeah, it's just
if you're heartbroken, come take shelter here. And I think like for us at this moment with Tommy passing and being here and being at Shelter Studios at the beginning of it all, and us being the Shelters and them the Heartbreakers and everything and how we're feeling, it just is like this overwhelmingly powerful, like chilling thing to me.
We had to make a trip to the altar.
Yeah, pay our respects.
Here we are.